Hi, hello everybody.
Hello.
Everyone,
All right, quite a few of you are on mute.
Oh, let's see.
Something crazy is going on there with Trami.
I know. I was on mute. I couldn't find my mouse. It's one of those things.
it was underneath the jackfruit,
Yes.
eating the jackfruit.
So hi everyone. Welcome to Medi-Veggie. It's our chit chat hour until 12:15, where we begin the meditation and vegetarian portion of the show. So, how's everyone doing? Just not. Okay, so this is a talk show. Talking is required.
I am thankful for a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, it's warm
Yes.
right now and not chilly in my apartment.
The rains were much needed, but it is beautiful out. Yeah,
Yeah. It makes a difference.
totally.
So what have you guys done so far as of this morning? I've done a lot. So share with us. How about Smita? Tell us.
Okay. Just chores. I have a ton of chores, being a mom, and I'm responsible for taking care of all the lunch, dinner, everything. So it's all at chores. But then I took some time out to sit and work on the meditation for today, and it's again beautiful channeled meditation. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wonderful. And what is going to be the theme of the meditation today?
Oh, okay. So it's interesting. I am so sensitive to energies, and I don't always like it because you don't want to be that sensitive. But this Mercury retrograde has been really interesting. We're seeing a lot of, type of energy like conflict and just stuff that's just like flying all over. So today's meditation is about sending out love and compassion into our world so energies will calm down. But then also, I know that there's a lot that's going on between people, between friends and families. I'm hearing a lot about it. So it's about calming down those energies between two people or between, just letting go of whatever is creating that uh, energy of conflict.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Even for me, today, like it's grant writing craziness time, and it's strange how these conflicts come up where you're like, what, right? So how many days does the Mercury retrograde keep on affecting us? Because I thought it was over, but
yeah, it sort of, happens like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And so it started on January 30th. It's going to go until February 21st. But the thing is that prior to its starting date and after it ends, there is a certain time when, the effects persist. So you'll start feeling the effects of the retrograde, like say, a week before it actually happens and a week after it ends. Um, and what you'll start seeing is, that really kind of bad sort of like conflict energy, but then also you'll start seeing your devices not working well, like network connections, things like that. And you're like, wait, what's going on? So this is a really good time to back up everything, back up your computers, back up your laptops, back up all your stuff.
Wow.
people back up anymore? I mean, I just use the cloud to store everything. So do I, right? Like, don't they back up? Isn't that what we pay them the
Well,
big bucks for?
yeah, but then this is also a great time to contemplate, a great time to meditate, and just help in calming those energies down. Mercury is a very interesting planet. It's a planet that invites inner contemplation. It invites going within and looking at things, releasing what needs to go. And so I don't see it as a bad thing at all. I just see it as something that comes like a reminder that, hey, clean up,
Yeah.
back up, clean up.
Does anyone else have anything to share what they've done this morning?
Well, I just want to say that's so interesting, though, Smita, because my phone has been really acting up lately. So when you were like, the devices are being affected, I'm like, yeah, definitely. My phone for sure.
Oh my God, the public art committee meeting. Oh my God, so glitchy, right?
That was last night?
Yeah,
The night before? I'm forgetting. I don't know which end is up anymore.
it was last night. I mean, I feel really bad for, people who are trying to put it together and trying to
Yeah.
make it flow, and
Yeah.
all these glitches show up. And
Yeah.
a lot of that is not in our control. We don't really know why that happens.
Yeah. Well, I've decided to do some exercise in the park this morning in my jogging outfit.
I did not know you had a jogging outfit.
It's a sweatshirt top and pajama bottoms, okay?
I really just want to like top off Tommy's outfit with like a clear visor and like gloves so that she stays light skinned and just like transform her into a Chinese grandma.
Yeah, we see them in the parks, right? Like, or on K-dramas.
Yeah, when I see I'm sorry, but people, my Asian people, especially Vietnamese people exercise, it just cracks me up. And my mom, she'll come visit, she'll be like, Trami, you got to do this move. And you're gonna, this is health. And it's like these crazy moves where she's just like swinging her arms and breathing, swinging her arms. I'm like, sorry, mom. I'm sorry. But they have this whole like underground, how they talk to each other, and they're like, oh, you got to do this move, it changed my life. And so I'm always checking in on my mom, like, so you still doing those moves? She's like, what moves? She moved on, to new moves.
That was a good one.
So today we have we're going to talk about fasting, which I know opposite of Medi-Veggie, like as in consumption, but we have to talk about the other side, right, Matthew?
Yes, and it's actually one of the most important things that we can do as humans is eliminating the digestion so we can heal. But I'll touch more into all of that when my turn arises. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
That was part of my morning, was just taking some clip notes and doing some cleaning and inventory and such.
Yeah, I think animals fast. They do it naturally.
Yeah.
Right? And
they eat to survive, really. They don't consume more than they really need to.
Well, you should tell my dog that. The very
I think in a domesticated environment.
You missed the memo.
Yeah.
You missed that gene.
Yeah. I think, wild animals versus domesticated, you definitely got to monitor them a little bit more because food is so readily available. Like with us.
Like with us, really. What strikes me is when I watch movies from the 80s to earlier, how skinny all the actors were. Yeah. And, they weren't intentionally doing that, but it's just our food supply was different, right? Yeah. There's probably less chemicals, less hormones. So people were naturally thinner. Like even when we see our parents' pictures, forget Asian people because they're all skinny, but like American pictures from the older era, they're all like super skinny and they looked great, right?
Yeah, it is interesting.
I wonder
about kind of like the art movement too. If you go like turn of the century, 16th, 17th century, you look at what people viewed as beautiful And in some eras, it was, more curvaceous, and men who were heavier were perceived as wealthy because they had the means to eat. It's quite different now.
Yeah. Well, now there's a big movement towards, voluptuous women and
Mm-hmm.
all that.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
I
and so
like
the
that.
skinny, yeah, but then the skinny ones get butt implants, where I'm like, really?
Yeah, everything could be implanted
Oh
now.
my God.
Too many
Oh
ways
my
to
God.
cheat.
Yeah.
If only we accepted what God gave
I
us,
know, right? This is true.
because it's so
Ooh.
perfect just the way it is.
Yep. And you
Speaking
create
of
all kinds of problems
Yeah.
putting stuff that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, speaking of which, so part of my morning, I was editing and publishing or scheduling some pieces to be published on Chopsticks Alley. And one of our interns, Ashley, who's been on the show, she wrote a piece about representation in makeup and beauty. And so she was writing about that really famous beauty YouTuber, Michelle Phan, who's Vietnamese American, and just talked about, how Eurocentric features, the way that they are like seen as like the standard of beauty within makeup industries
Right.
can be harmful, and how, having this like top vlogger who's Asian American is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in New Delhi, right? So the Eurocentric influence is so big there because the British were there for so long. Um, that and once we started seeing on television, right, once that world opened up, because that opened up much later in India than it was here. It was only in 1980 or 84 that my parents got a TV, so, and once those shows, American shows, started to be shown on Indian TV, it's like a whole world opened up. And suddenly we saw a huge change in the perception of beauty, you know? So women who were taller were suddenly considered like model material. And I'm thinking like, okay, the average height of an Indian woman is like 5'2", and I'm 5 foot, you know? And there are these women who are like 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", who are being considered beautiful. Like suddenly that whole shift happens. It's just like terrible, to see that. And then when you're in high school, there's people who are calling you shorty and whatnot, and it's like, come on, guys. Like, I'm almost an average Indian height.
Well,
You're average.
we can commiserate on that later. So for now,
Yeah.
let's begin Medi-Veggie.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly open us. So, if you're new to the show of Medi-Veggie, welcome. We aim to be ever innovative and encouraging health from the inside out. So, we're here every Wednesday with a guided meditation and a vegetarian recipe, or just an aspect of that health of the body. So, to any of our friends out there with a couple dishes to share that are vegetarian, or you have art, or you know someone who's a Southeast Asian artist, email us at chopsticksalley@gmail.com. We would love to feature you on our show. And thank you all of you who chime in with our discussions, your comments, your donations to Chopsticks Alley. That keeps us going. So now I want to turn this over to Matthew, who is going to share with us today about the benefits of fasting.
Thank you for the introduction, Esther. Yes, fasting is probably one of the most important things that we can do as far as our health and well-being. This was something that I experienced when I was part of the raw food movement back in 2006 and 7. It was one of the first things that I really tried after I weaned myself off of all, animal proteins and dairy. And I did some research on it first, and my first fast was for 3 days. And I wanted to see what the effects were, and I knew it was going to take some discipline. And I had never done anything like this before, so it was quite uncomfortable, to say the least. And So what I did for my first fast was there's different types of fasts. Some people do water fasts, some people do juice fast. You can do a combination of both. And what I did was I did a juice fast. And so for the first, it was a 3-day fast. And the important thing to remember about easing into a fast is that you want to give your body time to acclimate, especially for beginners. I've done it enough where I can kind of cut off the food and then ease in a little bit quicker. But it's important to about a week prior to start like removing one meal a day. That's going to help your body to acclimate to having less food. It's going to shrink the stomach as well. And because fasting is not just a physiological or like chemical process, it really has a lot to do with the mind as well, because our whole lives are spent consuming food. So when you pull the food away, you're left with a lot of openness. And food for many people is comfort. We do it, it surrounds us in our gatherings, the way we connect with people. So when you eliminate that one kind of essential part, you're left quite open to things and even vulnerable. And I found that turns out to be one of the most beautiful things about it, is you really get to tune into you. And when you eliminate food, that comfort of food, it really does open you up to things. The digestive process as a whole is probably the most challenging process that the body has to endure. I mean, just imagine consuming solid foods, and then the foods need to be broken down and distributed to all the organs, and that takes time. And depending if the foods are very complicated, it's going to take a lot longer. And what fasting does, the beautiful thing about it, and with juice or water, is that you eliminate the solid part of the digestion and you allow your body to do what it does best, and that's heal. Because digestion, because it's such a rigorous process that the body has to endure, and healing, they don't work very well together. Actually, they can't exist in the same place. It's kind of like hatred and then love. One has to be removed, and through removing food, that's why they say you're not supposed to eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, because the body goes into repair mode. And the same thing with fasting is by eliminating the solid parts of food that need to be digested, you're streamlining the process and giving your body time to heal. And many people never do this throughout their entire lives, and we're constantly eating and consuming and digestion, and it's very hard to heal at the same time, especially if it's from some ailment or a condition. It's almost like trusting your body too, and its gift and ability. The most amazing thing that we are capable of is healing from all kinds of stuff. So during my fasts, the first one, there's a threshold that is almost always confronted. With the smaller fast, the first day is a little difficult. The second day, you feel like a flow state, and then you're going to have your peaks and highs of where you want to consume foods. And it's good to have juices, preferably if you can, like raw juices available, whatever. I mean, I can do a whole segment on different types of juices to heal certain parts of the body, and you can actually target the lungs, the liver, kidneys, everything with specific vegetables. And one,
that's interesting. I've never heard that before. I didn't.
Yes.
No, very interesting.
Yeah, there's, for example, the eyes. Like if some people have ailments with the eyes, endive is probably one of the most powerful vegetables for healing ailments with the eyes. And carrots, of course, the high vitamin A.
Endive for the eyes.
Endive for the eyes, yes.
Tomatoes for the lutein.
What's the lutein?
Tomatoes, cooked tomatoes.
Lipine.
Lipine, okay. For
lipine, sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
And what's lipine for the rest of us? For fat? I don't know. Lipids?
it is a nutrient that is released. They say more of it is released when the actual food is. Um, but there's another thing with tomatoes too, that cause, because it's a nightshade, it does can contribute to inflammation. So you have to be a little bit cautious and kind of do some experimentation on what you're consuming during your fasting time and maybe what you're trying to heal, but just easing into it and giving your body a chance to do what it does best. Like honestly, healing is we want to heal. We live in this world of instant gratification, and with our devices and everything working so fast and the instant turnaround, that mindset is not congruent with how our natural systems work. It takes time to heal. And one of the clear signs of that during a fast is the detox. For some people, it can be a little bit more intense. The skin, being the largest organ, is the first to show the detox process, because everything is going to be, it needs to move out somewhere. And the skin being as large as it is, you may see small rashes, you may see some sort of breakouts. So these are common. Headaches are common. So there's a detoxification process, and it's a good thing because the body is trying to remove all of the toxins that get stored in different parts of our organs and things like that. There's also different types of fast too. And for people who are kind of new to fasting and want to try it, intermittent fasting is a great way to kind of step into that space and heal and really benefit from giving your body time to heal. Because the body does something really interesting. It's, if I'm pronouncing this right, it's called autophagia. It's where your body will actually consume all of the matter inside. It's going to work through, muscle is the last to go, but you're going to work through the fats and then the chemicals and any residuals in there. The body will consume this stuff because it still needs energy. And that's where, if some people who carry a little bit more weight with them, to avoid, say, like the stretch marks when you lose a lot of weight, fasting is going to help so much, because the body will consume all of the chemicals and everything within, and allow the body to naturally just kind of remove things, and it won't impact as greatly.
Yeah, I love the intermittent fasting. It's something that I do periodically, and when I do it continuously, say for a month, I see a huge difference in my skin. Like wrinkles would go away, or you can see like the brighter, brightness in your skin. So besides like your body feels better and you lose some weight, but it's something that I do when we do get together and I have to wear clothes, like normal clothes instead of jogging outfits. I do a couple weeks before an event or whatever. It really works. Thank you so much, Matthew. It's a lot. My goodness.
Yeah, I just scratched the surface there. I have like so
Yeah.
many other notes, and I know I can, continue on with a more in-depth take on fasting, and actually how to do it, and things that you can supplement, with juices or water, and how to target specific organs. Just from my own experimentation, I went from 196 pounds when I started my raw food, all the way to 142 at 8% body fat. I healed myself from all my allergies, conditions that I've had, and just naturally. So it's so powerful. And I'm actually gearing up for a fast pretty soon here. So
Wow. Maybe
Wow.
you can like tell us each time we meet, like, oh,
sure.
how you're feeling today, whatever. So that would be really neat.
Yeah, fasting is part of my culture. Like we
Yes.
fast. The only thing is that a lot of times, in fasting, we remove the grains from our cooking and
Absolutely.
only eat the vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, people like to eat fried potatoes and things like that. So the whole meaning of fasting's gone through the window.
Yeah. And
It's
I know
So
that
how our
in,
religion and
yes.
elders knew
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if they intuitively knew, however
Yep.
they knew, but they instill these in religion. So I know, like with
Yes.
Jewish, traditions, there's also that whole
Yep.
fasting.
Catholicism, like in many cultures,
Yeah.
very common in, I would say, East Asian culture, the fasting process, because what it does do, along with the physiological change, is what it allows you to really tune in. Because when you pull away all the food, which is, it really clouds our can cloud our vision and our ability to tune in. You're so open, and that is the most beautiful part of the fast, is really dialing into to the source.
And that's what happened to me when I recovered from my
Mhm,
illness. I basically went into a state of fasting
mhm,
all those like 4 months, in a sense that I gave up a lot of stuff that I was eating regularly
mhm,
because it was affecting me in a really bad way.
mhm, mhm,
Um, and then from that moment, those 4 months, I found all my abilities shoot through the roof. And it was since then that I started to hear Earth's Schumann resonance. Before that, I couldn't hear it, but now I hear it.
Wow.
So,
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
but
You're going to help to teach us to tune
Mhm,
in and zone in
yeah.
to the meditation. And then after the meditation at 12:45, I want to talk about this magical thing. It's a young jackfruit. We're going to talk about eating after meditation. So stay tuned. Join us for this very 15-minute meditation with Dr. Smita Garg.
all right. So, like I said earlier, today's meditation is about sending out calming, loving energies to those we love, that we're having a conflict with, bringing those energies of conflict into a loving, calming, peaceful state. So just find a wonderful, peaceful spot, a quiet spot to sit down and close your eyes. And let's get ready for the meditation. Let us do a quick body and breath check. How is your body feeling today? Are there areas where there's soreness or tightness? Just observe. Bring your attention to your breath. How are you breathing today? Is it calm, slow, fast? Once again, just observe and let it be. Now take a deep breath in through your nostrils and hold for a moment and release through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose, hold, and release through your mouth, making the exhale a little longer than the inhale. And now one last deep breath. Just hold and let go. And now just breathe easily and normally. Follow the breath as you breathe and as the air flows in through your nose. and moves down your throat, moves into your lungs and your heart space. And with that, bring your attention to your heart space. Today we will spend a little bit of time with our heart. The heart is where we connect to love and in love. The heart is also the place where we feel all the hurts. And that is where we experience a broken heart when someone we love clearly says or does something causing us to experience deep pain and hurt. Just take a deep breath in and let go. Let us see what happens when someone we love uses harsh words. And that energy of conflict and that harsh energy comes and hits us right here in our heart. In those moments, we experience a deep soul-level pain. Our souls are looking to belong. Our souls understand love. And when someone we love throws a rock at us, or holds a grudge, or disconnects, in those moments we feel alienated. We feel distanced. We feel distanced from love. We feel as if we do not belong anymore. Let us give those feelings and emotions arising within space and attention. Let us acknowledge them. Take a deep breath and let go. And now, keeping your eyes closed, think of the first person who most recently hurt you with their words or actions. You do not have to go back to the situation, that time or place where it happened. Just imagine that they are right here in front of you, present with you. Look directly into their eyes. And when you look into their eyes, you will see their soul. You will see their most beautiful inner self. If it feels okay, you can take their hands and hold them lovingly. Create a space where thoughts and feelings between the two of you can be exchanged without saying a word, in complete acceptance of each other. In this space, there is no more conflict or harsh energy. In this space, there is no more alienation. In this space, there is only love and harmony. And this space is within you. Take a moment to tell them how you really feel. Share with them how they hurt you. Share what is truly in your heart and how you feel. And if you need to apologize for some actions on your end, do so now. Spend a few moments in the space connecting with each other in your hearts. Take a deep breath and let go. Our souls are nothing but love. They are the part of us which remind us that dramas come, dramas go, but love is eternal. Feel that oneness of spirit within you. Feel the release of all those emotions that were sitting heavy in your heart. And now bring your attention back to your breath. With each breath in, your body fills up with fresh and new. With each breath out, release the old and stale. With each breath in, feel the good energy filling you up. With each breath out, release the anger, the hurts. And know that every breath you take, you get a chance to relive and re-energize and renew your body and your system. Whenever a person you love acts in ways that hurt you, bring your focus to your breath. Take a few deep breaths and let it go. Send compassion and love their way. Know that those who are hurt and in pain act in hurtful ways. And when struggling, hold a loving meeting with them, just like you did today, in a space of harmony, peace, and calm. Release yourself from the hold of that hurt, pain, or grudge. And now take a deep breath in and let go. And stay in this space as you go about your day. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Smita.
You're welcome. How is everybody feeling?
It was very helpful because it's been a strange week, right? Where conflict arises in my life that I was kind of surprised about. And also over like dumb things too, right?
Yeah.
So it must be all that Mercury retrograde stuff working on us. So
That, also let us acknowledge that we have all lived through 4 years of conflict, constant conflict in our world, right?
and
All
then
around
COVID,
us.
and then staying
Yes.
home and all that stress. So our level of tolerance has shrunken, or we're just like that cup is just overflowing.
Yeah, exactly.
So normal life already is like that. Now it's like, exponential, right?
True.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
How is everybody else feeling?
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you,
for-
Smita.
How
Sorry,
are
go
you
ahead.
doing, Esther?
I'm doing okay. I feel like I appreciated what Trami just said about like the whole cup overflowing thing because I was reading like a book yesterday and they were talking about the different kinds of spaces there can be. Like there can be silent spaces, that are heavy and kind of take up space in the room. And there can be spaces where there's openness and like you can actually choose what to fill it with. And I definitely think that I've been in a sort of space where I need to, like, where I want to tread lightly, and I don't want to like open things up and like push things around before I really know what I'm trying to do. So, yeah.
And it's all okay. It's an acceptance of whatever you're feeling. It's an acceptance of whatever is coming up within. There's a huge difference, as I've realized, in reacting to what's coming up from within and to just simply accept it, to observe and accept. And a lot of times, I've seen that things get resolved within us when we just observe what's coming up, what's showing up.
I feel like this year for me is learning that. Like when I just kind of stay quiet, and I'm someone who's like confront, resolve, done, So for me to just say, okay, I'll just go to my room, close the door, and and then just kind of sit and then watch TV, pet my dogs, whatever, and then maybe half a day later, an hour later, whatever that is, that huge reaction that I would have had, it didn't even matter. It was like, okay. I didn't need that drama, so it's that taking that time off it's an important lesson that I feel in the American culture we teach confrontation. We teach face the problem face on to resolve it, right? But maybe that's not the best way to do everything. Maybe the non-confrontation is better. I don't know. I'm questioning everything now. Thanks. Questioning my whole life.
That's good. It's a good place to be in.
Yeah.
I think, even in where I'm at in my life is questioning everything. What I think I knew, what the direction I was going, who's in my space, who is building me up, who is aligned, and how that all fits, and what it looks like to move forward, with kind of removing all of the things that no longer fit, and how some things serve their purpose, and then you find that, letting go frees up space. It frees up space for you to heal, to reflect. So it's definitely, it's part of the change, that we all go through.
Yeah, and we are given a chance to live. Every breath that we take is a chance to live again, because the only way we live is by breathing, right? So every breath that we have is a chance to redo or do things over in a way that are more harmonized and more aligned to us. At the same time, what I've realized over time is that a lot of the energy of, say, a grudge or, a drama can stay inside of you if you're not fully accepting it and releasing it. So that acceptance and the process of releasing needs to happen alongside. So you can keep emptying yourself, just empty yourself. And each time you empty yourself, you have another chance. Every breath you take, you have another chance, at life. So
absolutely. And making space for that.
Yeah.
The only person that we can control is ourselves, right? We make the choices. It also makes us responsible for our own happiness too.
Yeah. We are the creators of our world. So we can choose we can choose more loving ways, or we can choose more like hurtful ways. It's up to us always. And I think as our awareness goes up, we become more aware of the energetic nature of every emotion. So if there's an emotion that is creating conflict in us, then we know that it's not really, it doesn't feel good inside. So you don't want to deal with it. That means you are not aligned with that emotion anymore.
So then you pick a new emotion that is more aligned.
Yeah.
Huh, exactly. What do you think, Emma? As she takes a sip of her tea.
No, I think just the meditation and discussion so far reminded me one of the best things my dad ever did for me growing up was he's like a Catholic Buddhist, and I'm a very anxious person, and when I'd be freaking out, he would talk about letting the feeling like wash over you and not trying to stop it, but also not engaging it. And when I was like in middle school or high school, I didn't really understand it, but I knew in theory that was the goal. And as I've moved along, and it's a lot easier now to be like, oh, my heart is racing, and not to necessarily say like attach it to something and just accept it as a state of being, and not like it's an emotion that you're having, but it's not who you are at your core. It's an
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. And there's many layers of that too, you know, in my culture, in my you know, Hindu philosophy that I've grown up with. I didn't grow up knowing this, but over time I've learned more about it, that there's several layers of our existence. So there's the body level, there's the breath level, then there are the subtle levels like the soul, you know. And so there's layers to our existence, and a lot of stuff that we think is really happening to us is actually happening in the outer layers, because the more you go towards your soul, the more you reach that level of being in touch with your soul self, you will realize that there's only love there. All souls created are only love. Even the, you know, people who have done some really horrific things, actually, soul level, all souls are only love. And you know, for me, it's personally a really good reminder always when I am going through that state of conflict with somebody.
Emma, can you expand on allowing that feeling to wash over? Because it's scary, it's overwhelming, it's so, especially anxiety, because I have that, and I know a lot of our viewers may be experiencing that. So what does that feel like? So you're anxious, and then what, you just sit in it, then doesn't it become worse? So, right? So our whole lives we try to stop the anxious feeling. So tell us about it.
I think, and for me, this has come from I think my dad, when he was starting to meditate himself and sharing this with me, he really directed me towards Pema Chodron. And she's a good primer for, like, especially people here in the West, to like meditation and kind of loving kindness. And she has a book that I recommend to people called Comfortable with Uncertainty, which I think is very good for a time like this. So she explains it really well, but the way I think of it is that for me, a lot of the anxiety, like, there's the thoughts that come, and then there's also like the physiology. And so recognizing that, like, sometimes your body is going to do things, and trying not to ascribe meaning, because when I, like, if my heart's racing and I'm like, why is my heart racing? You know, I might point to like my partner or something and say, oh, it's because, like, they haven't responded, and I'm feeling anxious because it tells me something about, you know, our relationship, when really my heart's just racing because it's racing. There's also, and for me, that also comes from therapy as well, cognitive, various forms of therapy I've been through that look at experiencing feelings in the body and the mind, and not not ascribing meaning to them, so that it doesn't then cause conflict. And because it's when you sit there and you try and figure out, why is this happening, sometimes there isn't a good reason, and that's kind of like sitting in it, like you're saying, and like making it worse. But you can just go, wow, I feel really angry right now, and just go make lunch or whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I think it's a difference between trying to suppress a feeling and trying to acknowledge. So the first thing to do is to acknowledge the feeling, because there is a reason why it is in us. There is a reason why it's showing up. So you start by acknowledging it. And then, you know, instead of letting your mind wander, and it takes practice, this is where the practice comes in. You know, the more you meditate, the more you can quieten your mind, because the mind is a very interesting place. It takes you in circles. You know, they call it the monkey mind, because it loves to make you go through and make you go over and over, you know, stuff that you don't want to deal with. So it's, you know, acknowledging that feeling, and what that does is that it quietens the mind, and the mind feels, okay, you're listening to me.
It's like being heard. It's like when you're
Yes.
in a conversation with someone and they won't acknowledge your feelings, and you're like talking,
Yes.
talking. So it's nice when they're like, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. And from there, you will see that pretty soon you'll realize that, the source of that feeling, whether it was a family situation, whatever it was, suddenly it becomes irrelevant. And it's really great because the dramas are just dramas.
What I find myself doing, and I start to laugh about it. So I start to think about, right, rationaling this, and then I go, it's not even me. Like, they're acting crazy because it's them, right? Like, he or she, whatever, they're having these personal issues, and then they put on me, and it just kind of makes me laugh. And not because I'm laughing at them, but the whole, like, I'm laughing at myself for getting all worked up over nothing, So it's very interesting.
Exactly. But then because they are hurting somewhere, it's very important to acknowledge that too. If you are finally in that space where you've taken care of yourself, then acknowledge that they are hurting too. You send love and compassion their way. At the end of the day, all these feelings and emotions are energy, and we all have the tools to quieten those energies, even if they exist in another person and not in us.
And another tip you gave me on that, with that vein, is that sometimes you can't talk to them yet because
Yes.
and then you told me you can
Yeah.
to their soul. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, will it really work? So I told you I'll take this month to practice that. If I end up with any kind of conflict, I will talk to them in my mind
Yes.
and
Yes.
see if that shifts
Mhm.
anything. I've never tried.
Because what happens is that there's a part of you that is also holding on to the conflict. And so the more you talk to them, to their soul self, which is what we did in today's meditation, right? The more you talk to them in that soul, with their soul self, and express what you're feeling, the more you release that conflict from your system. And basically, the other person just mirrors what you are feeling. So you are always mirroring everybody else that you're meeting or are in a relationship with. So the more you release that, the more it leaves your system, the more it gets released from theirs. It's really, really amazing to watch that happen. But I'm telling you, that's what happens.
Well, I'm not going to take your word for it. I need proof. No, I'm just kidding. So I have to practice this. So anyone else who's watching or on this panel here, if you want to practice it, and maybe we'll check back with each other in like a month.
Yeah.
Well, can I share my special young jackfruit now?
Yeah, share that
Okay, so
jackfruit.
yesterday, somebody went to the store and got this beautiful jackfruit. And it's like, Vietnamese, we like the ripened jackfruit. It's really dark. It must be ready. So you cut it open, and this is what it looks like. Okay. So this is a young jackfruit, and then you read the label, and it says young jackfruit, and you're like, ah, crap. Okay. So what's really cool about this is what we use to make fake meat.
Yeah.
Because it has that fibrous texture, see? So the way I saw this done on YouTube, because now I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with this $15 jackfruit? Is you can cut it up and put it in the pressure cooker, and once it softens, it's much easier to cut and pry open than just try to do in this state. It's very hard. So do you have any other tips, Mita?
Yeah, so in North India, jackfruit is very commonly found in India. It's a tropical fruit, actually. And it's commonly found all over India. In South India, in Kerala, if you remember last week, we had that beautiful dance, right? That dance was from the state of Kerala. That state of Kerala, in that state, jackfruit is even gifted to everybody grows jackfruit. Everybody has jackfruit growing in their backyard. and you can gift it to a friend. It's considered a very loving gift, you know.
So guess who's getting this gift today?
I know.
I'm gonna drop it off to Smita because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you cook something and give it to the rest of us. Cause
So in Kerala, it is eaten ripe, from what I know, and it's cooked a little differently. But in North India, where I am from, it's eaten raw. It's eaten in its baby form, and it is cooked in different ways. It's also pickled, so you can, you know, and we enjoyed that texture, that the fibrous texture of this fruit. Um, and what happens is when it ripens, it becomes sweet. But when it's raw, it's not sweet. So it can be cooked with your stir fries. You can make it into a curry. So I will probably turn it into a curry.
ooh, I also saw like fake mock pulled pork sandwiches and tacos. And I've had jackfruit tacos. They're good. I mean, you can't really tell that it's not meat. So it's really nice. So there you go. That's my adventure with the young jackfruit.
I heard that, you know, somebody's going to be shopping at Daiso today.
Oh
So
yeah, so on my way to drop off Smita's, jackfruit, I have to treat myself by going to Daiso. Daiso is like the dollar store for the Japanese from Japan, and it's like the best. And you go in with like, oh, everything's $1, and you leave with like a whole like a bunch of bags, and you spend like $100.
Every single time I've tried to go to Daiso as of late, there's been quite the line, at least outside
Really?
the San Jose store with the Mitsuwa in that plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. You stand in line, everyone's, well behaved, and when you can go in, they let you in
Okay.
there's
do
a
your shot.
new boba shop, you know, that
Really?
opened up, yeah, close by. Yeah, there's like a ton of boba shops. There's like Teaspoon. There's like another place inside Mitsuwa. Then there's Paris Baguette, which has its own
I
boba
love
drinks.
Paris
Like,
Baguette. Yeah.
yeah, so Paris Baguette is right there next to Daiso,
Yeah.
so you can treat yourself.
Ah, yeah, Daiso's the best. I'm gonna get more cups. Anyways, so let's see. Next week, we may have an artist join us next week.
Yes, a young photographer whose work is currently being featured on our Fragments art exhibit.
Yeah, and next week is Valentine's Day, Lunar New Year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
so we have a lot. That's Valentine's week, not Valentine's Day, but Lunar New Year, Valentine's, all the grants are due. So it'll be one more crazy week for all of us.
yeah, I'm looking forward to Lunar New Year celebration on our show.
Yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's do some
Yeah,
celebration, but we can do the following week because we celebrate Lunar New Year for a long time.
that's right.
In Vietnam, it's like a whole month. The whole country shuts down. But here we get like a day, whatever. We've been cheated.
Cool.
Anyways, yeah. Anything else, Esther, you want us to mention for our audience?
Not much else, but as always, we love featuring more vegetarian recipes and perspectives on our show. So reach out through
Oh,
social media, through email. All our information is posted in the chats for you guys. And oh, Smita,
I
what's
just
up, Smita?
thought, to perk everybody up, I thought I will pull out a card. I don't know why. My guides were like, okay, first show of February, so why don't you pull out a card for everybody?
Is this a card for audience or all of us or what?
It's a card for everybody. It's
Everybody.
like, yeah, a message for everybody. So, all right, let's see what comes up. Okay. Oh my God, can you even believe this? Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about Brigitte, okay? Um, She's the goddess of inner strength. So it's so interesting this card came up because, this time is also a Celtic celebration or festival going on. And I think it's called Imbolc. And she is the goddess who is worshipped at this time.
Wow.
It's crazy that she popped up. And the card says, move back to wholeness, recognize that you have power. So the thing about Bridget is that she holds the chalice, which has fire in it. And really, it's representative of your inner fire, like, your inner, like, talents, your gifts, your inner strength. And so what she's saying is that find your inner strength, and your inner strength will lead you to feeling more whole and complete. Quickly,
What a perfect card.
I know, and I can send a picture, Esther, of this card so you can post it.
Thank you.
It's so
for-
interesting
Thank
you
you
told
so
that. As when I was a teenager, I went to a Celtic store, and for years I wore the emblem, the knotwork, which is
Uh-huh.
representative of Brigid. And because I think she's a protector of artisans and crafts
Mm-hmm.
people and such. So yeah, I still actually have that little talisman. It's
It's
probably
time for you to take it out and wear it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Yeah, I think that's the message I'm getting for you, Matthew. So it says that Brigid is a Celtic goddess of Ireland who is closely associated with fire and the time of spring. She was so well loved by the Celtic people that when Christianity came to Ireland, she was adopted as a saint of holy wells and other holy places. She is a powerful figure who can help us channel our energy into something that is important for our growth. And as she herself has lasted through the ages, she adds longevity to our journey so that we can reach a deep state of wholeness. You can call on her to bring her sacred flame to burn away anything that's not serving you, to bless any new projects. There you go, Matthew. Any new projects you have in mind for you as well. Since we are all artists here, this is
All
a
of us.
message for all of us. To bless any new projects you have in mind, and any kind of support you need, so you can call on her. And it also says that your spiritual fire is growing within. Recognize that the power of your soul is greater than you think. You have come a long way since you began this journey. There is a powerful force within you, and you have the ability to create wonderful changes in your life and inspire those around you. What a beautiful card,
Yeah, it's perfect timing
right?
for all of us.
Yeah. I'm just amazed because these first few days of February are dedicated to her. So
How do we explain this, right? This is beautiful.
Synchronicity.
If everyone's okay with it, we can end our stream, and then anyone who's on Zoom, stick around. We can chit chat some more behind the scenes, private, secretive things that we're not recording. So join us on Zoom, and how you do that is you RSVP at consciousalley.eventbrite.com. That's how you get the link to join Zoom, and it's the same link every week. So once you're in, you're in. Anyways, so with that, I'm gonna let Esther take us out.
Thank you, friends, for joining us today, and we'll see you next week for a Valentine's Day themed Medi-Veggie.
woohoo.